Hello everybody. Today I would like to cover one of my most favorite topic. Difficulty level a little bit higher. I should say it is not maybe the most challenging topic. Maybe it's more reluctant and also hesitated edible art technique. Cooked sugar work. When we say only sugar work, it covers so general. Everything out of sugar. You can say that sugar work, like pastillage, fondant, gum paste, royal icing, etc., or any paste contains sugar. But if we say cooked sugar work, that means you have to cook the sugar into the brittle stage that you can deal with its heat and time pressure, and you can try to do something with that. So how it has happened? First time you come across a kind of wonderful picture or a kind of centerpiece that which is you admire so much, and then you get immediate an urge that you want to also know about it, you want to also work with that, and you refer to information. You can go to, like, for example, a special courses conducted by a very talented extraordinary cake artist or sugar artists. They are a bit expensive, but I think worth every cent. You can also go there if you have possibilities. If you don't have enough financial possibilities, then also like no time and it's too much distance in between, and you can just refer bits and pieces. You buy books, you refer to magazines, you go to the visiting people's conversations in the net, etc. So you get a little bit information there, a little bit information there. Put all those things together into a sort of workable kind of knowledge that you can start working with sugar. And then you get enough confidence and you can start doing something with that. Maybe produce small little centerpieces. And then in this process, you come to hurdles. You have to deal with the humidity in the air. You have to deal with the heat that your fingers bristles. And you have to deal with the, for example, the crystallization of the sugar, which is a very big problem. And also like brittleness, etc. So every hurdle teach you something. It becomes a teacher of you. It's happened to me. I go through all those hurdles and then find out that everything is not impossible to solve. So you can work it out. When you're doing that, either you come to the stage that you give up and then you say it's not my cup of tea, or you continue. You go over those hurdles and then you come to the stage that you can also do it. So in that research, what I did, I come to the kind of conclusion that's quite significant. Available information either driven emphasize to the final product. It's a beautiful picture. You can see a wonderful final product. And you can learn things by just looking at it, all right? And then also, of course, you have to search that technical information, how you do that. So, or you come to the information, it's too technical, too scientific, like a lot of abbreviations, a lot of chemistry, letters and numbers and everything. So it is also not really important to know about that if you just want to work with sugar and then you want to produce something. So I find that in the middle, that experience-driven information is either hard to find, or it's not much available, or also if it's available, you don't know where to find it. All right. So I consider myself today go through all those hurdles and then have a little bit of information, a little bit of like experience. First 20 years I worked with the normal refined sugar, the last 20 years with Isomalt, and I have so many things happen in the meantime, and everything taught me something. So I would like to share those information with you. In our Yener's Way agenda, we plan to do some tutorials using Isomalt and making some centerpieces and cake toppers in different kind of concept. For example, tropical flowers, leaves, all the botanic kind of elements, and exotic birds, combined with some sort of like pastillage background. So I find it quite interesting to do something live, colorful, and really nice texture and details at the front, and at behind that using pastillage to creating some textures that's really like a tree trunks and runes and something more dull and matte and sort of more rough. So it really pushes each other nicely. So Ikebana concept, Japanese Ikebana, is what a wonderful marriage if it's come together with the sugar work. On the other hand, blown sugar centerpieces, which is covering like some fruits and some animals, some vases, etc. That's another kind of concept I like to cover. And of course, today's most favorite concept is making sugar casting in a kind of abstract way, and you can reach some heights with that. So it is also something that I would like to do in the future. And I don't want to go through in every single tutorial basic essential information again and again, and I don't want to take also shortcuts. So therefore, I would like to concentrate in this tutorial the first stage, how to deal with all those hurdles, how to deal with the sugar in proper way, and then going on those gray areas, making this light and darker gray. And also on the other tutorials, I like to emphasize and spend more time on how to finish this off, how to make it beautiful looking one. So the next thing is we have to ask two questions ourselves. What is isomalt and why we prefer isomalt instead of refined sugar? I do not have any formal education about chemistry to make me qualified to talk about this. And also I don't want to act like one. So this is the formula which isomalt turns from saccharose to isomaltulose and isomaltulose to isomalt in 2 stages. So I'm sure that some people have the knowledge, will understand this one, very simple, but it is for me out of my scope and I don't want to talk more about it. So, and at the same time, I'm looking for a simple text form of information that I can understand or reconfirm that what I know is correct, and also find a way, of very simple way to pass this information to you, and then you also understand, or as much as I can do. Then I look some research, and at the same time I revisit all my notes in the past and then gather some information together, and at the same time after my research I find out quite a number of websites and information in the internet that we can refer about isomalt. So we're going to give all those links to you that you can actually go there and then read more if you're interested more about that kind of more sort of like terms and sort of like abbreviations, all those things. All right. So particularly I find one website which is called www.sugar, just the sugar, .org, not .com. So this site is actually original, I think is about, let me see, I think this is from, started 1943 in America, in US. So that is really, really simple explanatory about anything about sugar. So anything you want to know about like sweeteners and anything to do with sugar, it is well explained over here in a very simple English. So I print out that particular section for you to understand. I'm going to read it now. Isomalt is manufactured from sugar, which is from saccharose, the normal sugar. The original glucose and fructose bond remains intact. That means the saccharose has got glucose and fructose kind of combination. And then the fructose portion only of the sugar is converted to equal amounts of sorbitol and mannitol. So sorbitol and mannitol, sugar alcohols. Read more about this in this site. So the glucose portion is unchanged. Thus, that is the most important part of the sentence. Thus, isomalt is a mixture of 2 disaccharides, glucose sorbitol and glucose mannitol. So it is very simple. The saccharose is the glucose and fructose, and then this intake stays together, and after that only the fructose part is changed to 2 items, which is the sorbitol and mannitol, and becomes whole thing become mixture of glucose sorbitol and glucose mannitol. So that is enough for me to understand what's going on, and I will leave it there. All right. So when we look at the history of isomalt, we see that 1957 isomalt is discovered and published, but not start used by people. So 1980s is Europe started, and 1990s America. I just read from the history. And the 1990s FDA, which is the Food and Drug Administration in America, let people use it, isomalt, as food. So at the moment there's 70 countries using isomalt as food. I guess that is norm, and then not sort of like side effects, something like this, or this already dissolve, and then answer questions are answered. So why is sucrose needed to change Isomalt? I guess the industrial reason. Whatever the Isomalt contain products will have better shelf life, better transportability, resistance to the heat and moisture and humidity, everything. So these are all the reasons. But what we are interested, what can we do with Isomalt as a cake decorator? So we just have to leave all those reasons on the side and then enjoy the benefit of Isomalt if we use it for our centerpieces and decorations. So to better understand that, I would like to invite you to imagine something. Let's look at what is the difference between sugar and Isomalt in different terms. We take a double stove. We place it on this table here. We put one pot here, one pot there, and then 1 cup of sugar here, 1 cup of Isomalt here, and then make it just like a wet scent, add some water inside, and we start heat at the same time with the same amount. Both of them start cooking somehow, and then we will see, if we put thermometer inside, on 160 degrees plus, the sugar will start getting color and caramelized. And then Isomalt in that 160 degrees not even change the bit of tone, so it will still remains very white and clear and then sort of like very transparent. All right, so doesn't have any kind of yellowish caramelization. In 200 degrees, we will realize that the Isomalt start getting a bit of color. And then in 200 degrees, sugar is all over the place, like smokes everywhere, is already burnt. All right. So that means the Isomalt is heat resistant. That is a good thing for industry. That is also a good thing for us to use it for centerpieces. So we can bring that Isomalt into a certain brittle temperature, then we can do things really without worry about the color of it. You can have it just really nice and white color. So if I don't go to extreme burning and caramelization part, I like to stay in the temperature that I can get a brittle condition but not moving. Not moving means that if I don't cook enough the sugar, if I imagine this too is a sugar or Isomalt, doesn't matter. If you don't cook enough, one of them, if it's not cooked enough, it goes slowly down, but you don't realize it. So you make a centerpiece here on the table, you go and sleep happy. In the morning you get up, you see that the arms didn't fall down, and then the roses already going down, and then the branches already falling off. So that is the cause of the sugar is not cooked enough. So what is the temperature for cooking right? Sugar, 150, secure starts, and then 155 is more harder, more hotter, but better result of that if you can deal with the heat. So between 150 to 155. For Isomalt, 165 is the kind of security starts that doesn't move, but it may be a little bit still also question mark. 170 is very secure. 175, it goes a bit more too hot and more difficult to work with, but you may get better shine and everything. So we talk about all this later on. So if you take these two brittle pieces, make kind of little bars and put on the table in a normal condition, we will see the sugar get wet a lot earlier than Isomalt. Isomalt will also get wet, but later on and less. So that gives us a more possibility to produce things with a little care about, like maybe covering with something with the humidity it doesn't touch before it get room temperature, etc. This is all later. So, and then if we look at those pieces which is already get wet, so the wet is actually before the crystallization. If you can achieve without crystallization cooking and then get the bars ready on the table, this sugar bar will be crystallized after getting wet, and then the Isomalt will also crystallize, less amount but later. So it's still more time allows that we can take care about this. All right. So calorie wise, Isomalt is 2 calories in 1 gram. The sugar is 4 calories in 1 gram. So I guess that if you want to use the Isomalt as a sweetness, like a sugar, if you have a sweet tooth, maybe you should use 2 spoons instead of 1 spoon. How much it makes sense, I'm not so sure. But dietary reason, people say that it's better for diabetics and etc. So I'm not talking about this because I'm not a doctor anyway. So, all right. So that is the about the difference between sugar and isomalt. Much more durable, much more useful, much more friendlier for us, for cake decorators or pastry chefs. Right? Next question is what to do with that. What kind of techniques we have to use with isomalt we can achieve those beautiful centerpieces. When we talk about isomalt centerpiece, sometimes you may be hearing me saying sugar centerpiece. That means in bracket isomalt, unless I specify as sugar, because we're going to talk about sugar time to time just to revisit again the difference between sugar and isomalt. But basically, we will do all the actions in the tutorial with isomalt. And if I say sugar, unless specified, is isomalt. So think about the beginner's project. So everybody starts with that idea. I promise you I'm going to make also one tutorial about that. Fruit basket. So if we looking for descriptions of what kind of techniques we can use with this sugar work, with this isomalt work, the starting from the base of the sugar basket, we will have a plate. So the basket sits on it. What we're going to do, we're going to take just a ring and then cake ring and make sure that it is clean, and we're going to cook the isomalt and pour it inside, make sure the isomalt runs to the edge of the circle, the ring, and then we later on remove it. That is the casting sugar, the casting isomalt. So if we cook sugar and pouring inside the molds or inside the frames, that is the casting sugar. Secondly, when we start with the basket, we're going to also recondition the isomalt, and we pull the sugar sticks just like actually continuously pulling sugar sticks like a pencil, and then we go waving the basket with that. That is pulling sugar. After that, we're going to take the isomalt again. We're going to do some blowing with that, and now we will produce all those different fruits like apple, pear, bananas, grapes, etc. So that is the blowing sugar. That means we fill the sugar with air, just like people doing the glass blowing technique. And then we will have a very thin skin of the sugar, and then we can create wonderful things with that. So after that, everything finished, we're going to pull again a sugar into the ribbon form, and now we place it on that handles of the basket. So when we talk about isomalt centerpieces, it's not only one single technique. Sometimes it is, but most of the time, either all those three different basic techniques together, or maybe at least two of them together. So that is basically the major techniques and actions what we can do with isomalt. Other than that, we will have also special effects, which is not something to do with the pulling or blowing or casting or something. Those special effects is not really, I would not say as a category was a basic techniques. It's different ideas, interesting ideas. I will use those things that while I'm doing the centerpieces, not in this tutorial. Now, what I like to do, I like to bring all the tools and material on the table. So each of individual, all those things, all the tools has got different functions. And then everyone has got sort of variations of it. This we can use, but we can use also something else for that. So let's look at what you have to buy and what you can improvise yourself and what is all those sort of practical ideas. I have here very crowded table. So as you also realize that I put things in groups. So each group has one purpose. So if you look at over here, I have things only for cooking. I have things for keeping the sugar in the right temperature, working temperature. And I have here ingredients, anyway, just isomalt and some colors. And I have things what I need for blowing, and then need for casting and protection, and then pulling. And then also very important that I have things for manipulating sugar. So sugar need to be manipulated and then just bring them into the right temperature, in the right shape, and hold in the shapes. So sometimes I need some coolness, sometimes I need some heat. I have also one thing missing here, microwave, just a simple domestic small microwave. It will do the job. You don't have to get something commercial. So when you see this crowd, don't worry about it, because I'm sure most of things what you see over here, you have it already or you have it there but you didn't realize that you can also use it for sugar. So if not, I'll let you know anyway what other options are. Now, you can go to market and of course order to yourself, for yourself, that a particular sugar blowing kit or sugar work kit or something. It comes in a like nice big suitcase, aluminum suitcase or something else, I'm not so sure. And then when you open up, you have this beautiful sponge kind of separators inside, everything in there. But somehow that you can't put everything inside. You can only get partitions from these items here. You still have to worry about the rest of it. I have nothing against it. You can just go and spend this money and you can get these things wonderfully done, very professional, very hardy, very nice things, all right? But you know my philosophy. I always think about, ask myself a question. Can I do it myself? Or can I use this for that purpose? Somehow that I look at these options first before I go and spend money. So don't think that I'm too stingy or something. I just want to use my brain before my pocket. So that's all about it. All right. So what I like to do now, I want to clear up everything and then keep only one group at a time and talk about individual items. What is this all about? The tools for cooking purpose are over here. So first thing, I like to start from the stove, that if you cook something, you need, of course, the heat source. So you can use the gas stove, you can use the electric stove, you can use the induction stove like this. None of them is wrong, but one of them is the best. So induction is my preferred source of heat because of the practicality and mobility. So you can take this one anywhere you like. You don't have to be really in one particular place with the big, in front of big stove. So, and also the great thing is, if I press this button now, the number here shows me between 2000 till 80. So I don't know what does it mean, maybe wattage or something, but the heat I can control very, very well. So distance is quite big. So, and also less dangerous, because as you know that induction doesn't have that particularly. You can sometimes just touch over here because that the heat is transferred here. Just you know the heat of this bottom of the pot, because I just take it off. That's why I feel it. So that's what I want to choose and recommend you to use induction stove. Second thing is the pot. The one thing is with induction is the problem is you have to select a particular pot that works with induction. So underneath, I see over here, for induction, I can use it. But is this the only pot that you can use? No. Any pot that you take, do this, that the fridge magnet sticks underneath, you can use it because induction works with the magnetic field. So you don't have to be stick here. This doesn't stick anyway, but stick underneath, that is fine. The only thing that you must have a good handle that doesn't transfer the heat too much in your handle here. That is a good one. I don't feel never sort of like a dangerously heat over here in my hand. If not, if you have a pot, you can use also, of course, a little towel or sort of like a silicone holder you can use also. So the other thing is most important. We have to know how many degrees we cook to sugar. So to do that, we need thermometers, of course. This is the thermometer that is already obsolete. So that is the original sugar thermometer. It starts from 60 degrees and then the Reaumur is 50. There's no Fahrenheit here. Then what I see over here, because it's too old, it works with a red spirit, which is quite visible. And then there's a piece of red over here. I guess it's like throughout the aging that has happened. That actually shows me 2 millimeter less. So it's not going to work for me. All right. So all the other ones over here, digital thermometers. Can I use every digital thermometer? Digital thermometer is a good idea, but not everyone you can use it. So let's say we're gonna on this one now. So okay, on this, on that, and on this. All right. So I have another thermometer here in front of me, a wall thermometer, that says 25 degrees. That says 26 degrees. That says 25.9. It's quite close. And that says 25.5. All right. So which one I have to trust? There's about 2 degrees in between here. All right. 2 degrees is damn important when I cook the sugar because it makes the sugar is easier to work, or it makes the sugar really very hard to work. All right. So the best thing is to check the thermometers. You put water inside your bowl, and then you boil the water, and then place your thermometers, not while it's boiling, at the end of boiling. So just boiling the water and shock all the thermometers inside all together, which some of them will see the C is like blinking, is not going to work, all right, because it doesn't take too much heat suddenly. And then the other one will be probably, you see that it's boiling on the 98 degrees, or some of them will be 102 degrees. So if a thermometer shows you 100 or maximum 101 degrees, just a toggling between 100 and 101 degrees, that means this thermometer you can trust no matter how cheap it is. All right, so that is the best choice, because there is a kind of alarm here that I can set my thermometer here 145 degrees, because for example, I want to cook the sugar at 150, and I don't want to just wait over here for 15 minutes. So I just want to go and do something else and come back. So I can just put my alarm, 145 degrees beeps, I come back and stand by for the last 5 degrees. I don't go anywhere, because it's important. It will reach that from 5 degrees, from 55 to 60, is very, very quickly. So how I get this one in there here? So I have a here silicone kind of cord which is actually designed for oven, inside oven. You can put in the meat or whatever. So I can put it over here like this, but it's like a very, very cumbersome. So what I do is I just take a little craft wire. All right, I just go like this, and then turn around like that. All right, just go back here, and then just come like this, couple of turns like that. Make sure I do that twice, all right? And then put this on the side of the pot, and then bend it accordingly, and I make sure that stays in the right direction. So the tip of the thermometer is just almost touching at the base, but don't touch, just maybe a millimeter high. That will give me the right indication how many degrees in here. My most trusted thermometer here is this one. That's probably the cheapest one. Because I put them in the water, I shock them in 100 degrees, it goes slowly up to 100 and stays there between 100 and 101 degrees. That is good. And also put a little bit of craft wire over here, so I can use this as a spoon, because when I put Isomalt inside here, I will mix it a little bit, slightly. So just give a bit of motion that they starts everywhere boiling. So I will use this one, go inside. I check the thermometer slowly, and after that I just do like this, check it like that, perfectly, all right. I will understand and put it back in the water, all right. So that's the thermometer all about. You have to choose the right one. Don't trust everyone, all right. Another thing is silicone mud is a very good separator between table and your sugar, and also that I have a big one to pour the sugar and then get it in the right condition. I have also small ones here to place them in the microwave, because you can't just put the sugar for reconditioning, just check in the microwave and expect that it's going to come back in one piece. If you put it only for few seconds, yes it is, but few seconds more, it will just melt in one side and stick in the thing, and then it will be quite dangerous, because if you don't have this one, you also have to touch the sugar. Maybe you're touching in melting parts, it will be quite dangerous, so that's why I use this little one. What else I can use instead of silicone mud? I can also use soft PVC, but thick one, not the so thin one. I can use this also. Of course, the silicone is the best choice. All right, let's look at the other group now. Different parts of our body react to heat differently. For example, if we have a cup of coffee just now done, we take an instant coffee or something, we pour the very hot water, which is just boiled 100 degrees, and after that we pour some cold milk inside. So it's just like considered hot coffee. We can drink, no problem. So our mouth, our lip, our tongue is not going to react strangely. Will be okay. But if you look at the temperature of that coffee, it will be about maybe 70, 80 degrees. All right. So, but when we put our finger inside in this coffee, it will hurt. You cannot just keep it more than a second probably. If we pour this accidentally, this coffee on our skin, it will really damage our skin. It will be quite red. Maybe it's not a 3rd-degree burn, of course it's not a flame, but it will not so good for our skin. So if I have a 70 degrees sugar in my hand, I try to do something with that, I cannot, because my hands cannot bear this heat. So what is our hands can hold? So everybody may be slightly different, but between about 50 to 60 degrees is okay. So 50 degrees, it's good for your hands because it's cool, but not for sugar because it will be too hard to work with. But if you have a 60 degrees sugar in your hand, it will be good for the sugar, but not for your hands because the hands will hurt a little bit, all right? So in between this one, like about 50 to 55 degrees will be approximately all right. So these are the tools that help me to keep that sugar in that workable condition constantly in a long time, so I can keep on working with that without any interruption for the pulling and blowing the sugar. So one thing is over here additional, you must be asking me what was doing underneath this pot while I was explaining about the induction oven. So I like to also keep the sugar sometime in liquid form, because that when we making casting sugar, I don't have to cook the sugar again and again for different colors. So I just want to cook one lot in a big amount, and I just pour it into the small little jars or something that make sure that the sugar is maintained that temperature in some way. So if I place that wood underneath the pot, I have to place, of course, the setting in the induction the lowest degree, which is about 80 I can with that particular one. So that will also help me a little bit more to keep that sugar warm but not constantly heating. So don't try this please on your other stoves like a electric stove or a flame stove. Of course, that is not going to be a safe thing to do. It will burn and maybe burn your house. So it is quite daring action to do, putting something like this in between the pot and induction, but for me it works, so please be careful, take your own responsibility for that, all right? So these are the tools that help me to keep that sugar in the right condition. I actually done that myself. So what I do over here, between about 20 by 30 centimeters, about inch thick wood, and I put underneath sort of non-slip knobs that it doesn't move too easily. And I take one of this, just a normal table light with this extension which just moves up and down. All right. So that light, actually, that particular device, is designed for about 60 watt light. All right. So, but I place over here 250 watt bathroom heater light. So that bulb is about 250 watt, and it's quite hot if it's like it is just right for sugar, because I can adjust like this up and down and then bring that sugar exactly in the right condition by kneading and place it here. I can keep on working with that. Just make sure that I'm manipulating that in up and down when the time comes with necessity. All right. So one thing that you have to be careful, when you take this light off, the bulb off, that connection underneath has to be ceramic. So the ceramics are more heat resistant. It doesn't really damage. So make sure that you buy the right lamp. So if you buy something flimsy, something plastic, it will not going to be possible. And also, I would advise you, if you find a right device like this, make sure that you bring that device into your electrician, whoever does your electrical thing and is licensed, and then do some changes in there, change that little connection with the bulb with the ceramic one or the right one. So do that. So if I do that, something out of the norm, I take my own responsibility to do that. I'm working with this kind of lights already years, since the beginning of my sugar career, and I didn't have any problem, but I cannot advise you to do something wrong. So make sure that you're doing the right thing. All right. So the connection here is attached to the wood, and that I can take anytime off, and then maybe wrapping somewhere to go or whatever. It's flexible. I can turn left and right like this, so to bring in the right spot. And also I also join with a couple of screws here a piece of soft PVC, as I mentioned before. That soft PVC, why is connected? Because when I sugar here, sometimes I put like this and then do like this. I don't want to have this one all over the place. So I can have a flexible front, but non-flexible at the back. So I can do this. I can do this. I can do that. All right. So this is also another thing that I just put the same thing, soft PVC, install it around the frame. That will help me sometimes to keep the sugar out of the way, so I don't have to put it somewhere else. I can also use, of course, the silicone mats, but this is also quite useful because it's not touching to the base. It keeps the heat quite evenly for some times. So, and also make sure that these plastic sheets are always clean. Even that you work with sugar, I have a little bit of sort of like little sugar residue over here. You have to always keep on cleaning with the wet towel, and after that you clean with the dry side. Don't ever think to use soap, because soap is not going to be good for sugar. Only the water, just the water. So I like to bring now the other tools and material that I needed for blowing and pulling sugar, because it's a similar action. So I like to bring all together. When we pulling sugar, we have an absolute contact with sugar. So all the heat what the sugar has, you feel it in your fingers. All right. So that's why we have to protect our fingers from sugar by using some gloves. So because if we use your hands to hold the sugar gently, just like a fingertips, like a very lightly, it is a different thing than holding and just like a pulling. You have a complete pushing into the sugar, and then you have a complete touch to the temperature. All right. So the gloves are quite important. You have to wear something which is fit to your fingers correctly. So if I have to work with a large amount of sugar at the beginning, I will use that kitchen gloves, which is for washing dishes. All right. So this is thicker, and this is really protect your hands from the heat. But the bad thing about this, it's too rough. It takes the control from your fingers, and also that there's some texture over here which doesn't really right thing to do. So this is only used for protecting your fingers at the beginning for large amount of sugar. Other than that, I use that hospital grade surgical or hygienic gloves. Basically, hospital grades are blue, but there's also other colors. So just make sure that surgical or hygienic doesn't matter, but it is a hospital grade, because it's more very hardy. It doesn't really tear very easily. All right. But other than that, I can also use just a latex-free supermarket purchased gloves, which is fit my fingers quite nicely. See that it's just when I do that, it goes all the way, take my hands form that I don't have to worry about it. So it is good enough. All right. So scissor wise, try to get something like that. Why? Because the handles are quite large. So when I holding, I have an immediate grab that because I can just put all my fingers in there. I have a good control, and also when it's on the table like this, it's a bit hard to grab, because sometimes it happens that it's not coming with you. And that's why I placed on the sponge like that, and I have a good grip all the time. Don't use or try not to use the other small little scissors, because you need only 2 fingers. It's not much control. That is good, strong, and very sharp at the end, so I can make small cuts or big cuts, doesn't matter. And also this one good, I can do sometime pushing. You know, for example, I use this one to make leaves. This is perfectly all right. All right. So when it comes to the blowing action, sugar blowing, so this is the original pump. So that is the original special design for blowing sugar. When you do that, the air goes like this, and then when you do other way around, it goes this way. So and there's this smaller section, make a small segments of air pressure. It will also make a smaller little figurines or whatever. So that end is a small one for the smaller blowing thing, and then this one is the larger one. So that's all good, but I use this one. That is the device, part of the device of blood pressure measuring device, blood pressure measuring device. So good thing about the flexibility here is better than that, and I can put over here like this, because it is larger than this. I can do like that, and then I have 2 hands available to do the rest of the job. You see, I can do this, and I can also work with sugar by 2 hands. With this one, I have to be one hand here, one hand there. So I lose one hand with that one. That's also not big enough to give me what I'm looking for. All right. So these things are just at the beginning part of the broomstick. Make sure it is round like this. So that's good. And then also like the small non-stick rollers. This is all used to give the first shape when it's blowing starts. That the sugar, I will explain this one later on. Just we make some sort of like a cavity inside that we can start blowing properly. So that is just to help for that. Okay, now next thing is I'm going to bring you the casting tools and materials what we need for that. When we say casting sugar, before the sentence finished, people will say, where's my silicone mold or where's my silicone frame to pour my sugar inside? That's fine. You can order that from internet, from the suppliers, no problem at all. But I have to go to the computer now. I have to find out who is selling it, and I have to order it when it is coming back, maybe about 2 weeks, 3 weeks time, and then how much is it? And then after that, the main question, can I find exactly what I'm looking for? No, there will be fantastic frames are available in a kit. I will talk about this a bit later, and but it is only that particular shape. Wonderful designs, but not exactly what I'm looking for now. So I have an order for tomorrow, I have to do it. So that's why I like to solve my problem without relying on some other supplies or whatever. I like to be completely free and then without any time pressure. So I use these kind of things to make my frame. No problem at all. I have aluminum foil to create my base for the sugar casting. I have this non-flexible bars, actually specially designed for sugar casting, but you can find something similar in that sense. I can do rectangular squares or something squarish with that. And I have also a flexible aluminum bars, which is I can bend as much as I can, more like larger cursive things, and that is about 10 millimeter by 3 millimeter thickness. You can get it from any kind of hardware store, aluminum, all right? And I have here also glass jugs, which is for measuring jugs, that we can call measuring cups, that perfectly all right, because the handles are separate. I don't have to get much heat from the sugar, and also that little thing that makes me exactly pouring in the right spot, very, very thin streams. And then also when I read over here, microwave safe, and but not for the stovetop, but I don't need to put on the stovetop. I just need the microwave safe, is good enough, all right? So then I can do straight lines, I can do a little bit cursive lines, but about something more finer. I need to have something like a paste that I can bend wherever I want, and then sugar doesn't stick to it, all right? I can create that from the non-toxic clay or non-toxic plasticine. So if I roll that, I just did it many, many times. I roll that about 8 millimeters or 10 millimeters, and I stick aluminum foil on it, and I use this blade and cut stripes, just to cut 1 centimeter stripes. From that stripes, I can bend whatever I want. I'm going to show you soon, all right? So, the plasticine question mark, can I find it? Where do I find it? And then also the non-toxic clay is also a question mark to find. But I have my fondant all the way here, always here on my underneath the table, all right? So either a gum paste or a little bit more hardened fondant, which is with the tylose, extra tylose inside. It will give me that possibility. So I'm going to show you very soon this one. So this is the roller that I roll my this paste, and then that is the blade. I cut the stripes with it, and then I need some water to stick the aluminum foil on that paste to make that flexible turnings. So not more talk about it, because I'm going to tell you about this a lot more when I'm doing the frame. So let's look at what we need to manipulate the sugar during the process to get it heat up or cool it down quickly, whatsoever. We are living in an environment that smaller things is influenced by the larger areas is temperature wise. So if I have, let's say, something, an object on the table about 10 degrees. So the room is 25 degrees. If I leave it like this, it will go slowly to the 25 degrees. At the end, all of them will be the same, because the room take the control of that small little thing, temperature. And if I take the same thing, 10 degrees, put in the fridge, and the fridge is 4 degrees, that little things which is 10 degrees go slowly down to the 4 degrees, because the fridge is larger, much more controlled, control the small things, all right? So during that centerpiece making out of sugar, we have to make these things happen, like control the temperature by smaller parts. So how we do that? We can refer to this kind of devices here. Let's say an example. I'm doing a swan, blown sugar swan, and then some parts are pulled, all right? I'm happy with the neck and then the beak and the head, everything. But while I'm working with the head part, the bodies get already cold, because the room temperature, you know, that they can control, and then get also the body is cooling down. So I like to apply a little bit of heat to that part that I can blow a little bit bigger, all right? So what do I have to do? I can just go to, I can just put in the oven, but everything becomes soft, so my neck and head also ruin, all right? So, or I can apply this. This is a hair dryer. I can apply a gentle heat, just the hot air on that particular area, turn around like this in front of it, I can just manipulate that particular area's temperature. I can blow that a little bit larger. Or, for example, let's say I'm doing an apple that the stem is get a little bit thicker still. I couldn't make it thin enough. I want to make a really strong heat there, just make it like almost melting down that little part so I can pinch and get a bit thinner. So I can use this kind of thing. I can just like this, side heat. Then I can put these inside like this, do like this or whatever. I can do that. But I like this one because that is upwards. So I can put this over here. I can be on top and do whatever I want to do. Also, I can take in the hand like a pen, make it very, very small. All right, very, very small. I can just go into some sort of thinner area and sort of like a really little gaps. I can glue things together. It's also quite useful. So if you have a torch like this creme brulee torch or something like this, I prefer that. If you don't have it, that also will work. All right. So same thing for sometimes I need to get cooling down. Let's say go back to the swan. I have the neck ready. I'm happy with that, but I want to have this one set to like a rigid condition. I don't want to blow more. I want to continue with the body only. So I can apply some coldness with this little fan, just in the area, or I can shock with this one. This is a cold air. This is a cold spray. But this one you have to be careful a little bit, because especially when you blow in things, this get too cold in the very sudden situation. It can also shatter things very, very badly. So you will be very disappointed with that. So these are the things that I can control and manipulate locally. There's a small little areas on the sugar part, either hotter or cooler, to just get this shape what I want on that time. So let's put on the side here. Once we have our centerpiece finished, let's look at how we control and how we protect that shade and the shine in the shape for a long time. Talking about protecting sugar centerpiece or decoration pieces from what? So there is, I can think of about three major things. The first thing is the knocking. So the sugar is very rigid things that if you touch thing and then it will break very easily. So it is quite controllable. It's up to you that how to control that, but just don't let people knock, don't let people touch to that. It will be fine. The second thing is the heat. So when we cooking sugar, when the sugar goes slowly cool down, and then when we finish the pieces, it reaches a certain temperature to rigid condition. It doesn't move down anymore. The gravity is lose the control. All right. So, but how many degrees that we should bring the centerpiece back that the sugar becomes soft again? So that is quite interesting, because normally we are in room temperature about 25, 27 degrees, 24 degrees, and even the hot weather we go up to maybe maximum 30 degrees in room temperature. So that kind of conditions doesn't really affect too much about the sugar centerpiece unless it didn't cook properly, or unless it's very, very fine pieces with the heavy things hanging on it. All right, unless also we put the centerpiece under the sun. Of course, this is not really the case also. So the heat also not very much problem. The biggest problem is the humidity in the air. So no matter what you do, beautiful centerpiece, bad centerpiece, good looking one, bad looking one, whatever, you have to protect your centerpiece or decorations from the humidity of the air. So unless you leave the countries like Nevada or Las Vegas. So I was in Las Vegas many, many years ago, and then I was judging the World Pastry Championship, I think 2002, 2004. I was amazed that with the people who does the centerpieces, and they don't protect at all. So they don't use any kind of lacquer or silica gel or whatever. They just don't eat. So basically that if the humidity less than 40 degree in the average in the country or in the city, you don't have to do anything. You can just do anything you like. It will stay in the beautiful form for a long time. So let's check over here how much we have in Gold Coast, Queensland, Australia, Gold Coast, Queensland. So that is probably, let me check here quickly. Humidity I have here 67 degree, which is 66 now, which is not too bad. If there is a humidity like 80, 85 degrees sometimes, it is really you need more precautions than just a little actions to do. So there is two stages to protect your centerpiece or your decorations. The first stage is like when you're preparing little pieces before you join them together. So that is the first stage. And then second stage is when after you join together, when the centerpiece is finished or decorations finish, then you have to protect also. So there is two ways to do that. One is this one. That is the silica gel. Food grade silica gel. I'm not so sure this is food grade or not, but this is I'm using since the 1980s. Nothing happened to that. So what happening, like it becomes a pink when it's absorbed the complete moisture. I put it back into the microwave, and I turned this one about the blue color, complete blue color. So then some of them may be not affected anymore. So maybe stays pink, but most of it turns to blue. I'll show you soon. And after that, I pour this one into this box, and then place that baking sheets, silicone baking sheets, and I place my little pieces over here on top. It will stay nicely till I join them together. So I will do that one soon. Let me put this in the microwave first while we're talking. I'll put about 3 minutes. All right. So we use two things, either a silica gel or some sort of the same functional thing, like there's a little sachets that you can also buy. Also, I remember that used to be, many years ago, I used to use limestones. That limestones that we put in the box and then pieces together, it will also protect, but where do you find limestone? That is better. So when I said that my silica gel is not, I'm not so sure it's a food grade or not, but it is my responsibility. So as I always said, don't do what I do, do what I say, use the right one, make sure that your silica gel is a food grade. So another thing is the confectioner lac. Confectioner glaze or lacquer is the mixture of ethanol and shellac. What is shellac? Shellac is like a secret of some special bugs that it grows in the India or Thailand kind of countries. That is the secret is picked up from a tree and then processed to like a shellac, sort of like a sheets or little pearls that, or a kind of like a little flakes that melted into the ethanol. Ethanol is the alcohol that we can consume, but not the methanol. Methanol is the one that makes us blind. So this is a mixture of ethanol and shellac, and that is not a good choice. This is also confectioner lac, but it's yellow and it's too thick, and then this is much more finer, liquider. You can apply a little bit of like a foggy kind of like a spray, and it covers that pieces. These pieces, what I have over here, I produced them around 1 week ago to show you the extreme conditions. So I pull a piece of rose petal, and then gives a kind of like it's a bit broken over here, but doesn't matter. You can still see the shine, and then the silicone is still there, because as soon as I finish it, I lacquer with this. And then second thing I didn't lacquer it. As you see, it turns dull and it turns a little bit like not so nice anymore. And this one, I make a casting here, but cover the side, one side, and I spray the one side with this, and then the other side I spray with water. So that you see that when I spray water, I give an extreme sort of like a condition, that extra moisture I give it to them, and then it becomes like a crystallized, a little bit really, really ugly. I can't even say that this is you can use it, but this part is completely okay. So that is quite important, that you have to protect your sugar accordingly. Let's see what happened here. Okay, it's not yet blue. I have to do another few minutes, and I'll get back to you. Okay, let's see what happened. It's about 5 minutes past. It's quite blue now, yes? Yep. So that turns to blue. That means the silica gel is functional again. So that is completely dry. The pink ones are not really dry yet, but you can just go further a little bit and it will happen everything. Some of them it turns actually red, keep red. That is not functioning anymore, but there's enough here to do the job. So what you do, you just take a little bit of this, and put it here. All right, just put it here. Couple of spoons, like that. Just about the level like this, they'll do. All right, you don't have to put everything. So just then put this one in, one piece like this. Oh, doesn't work. Okay, we keep this lid close till it's cooled down, all right? And this one goes into this jar, and after that we close airtight. It will stay blue for quite some time. You can always take it out and then top it up a little bit, or just take this out and put the new one inside. That will be the way of how to protect your sugar pieces. If there is a small piece, like if it goes into that size, it's fine, little pieces that before you join together. If you have a larger piece, of course, you just put a big piece of paper on the table and then use that. A little bit of on the front, a little bit on the back, then it's ready. And I actually use this kind of silicone sheet, which is about 70 by 50 centimeter. It can take a quite a large piece. Also, your table doesn't get really dirty, because when this is sprayed to the table, you can't clean with the water or soap or anything. You have to clean with the turpentine, which is quite a bit of like work to do. You have to clean it, and then after that sanitize, and after that you wash your table again. So that's why protect your table from this, because it's not easy to clean. Let's look at the ingredients now. As ingredients, we have only two items on the table, isomalt and food colors. And you see also at the both end, there's some water. So this is an optional method. You add the water inside isomalt or water inside the powder. We can live with these two, just the isomalt and the gel colors. So if we add the water inside the isomalt, you will have a little bit more comfortable start. You can see that sugar is just starting boiling. You don't have to mix too much. And also, the time that the water evaporates, it gives you a little bit more comfort that you can catch your thermometer. You can catch your temperature correct. So if you don't add the water inside the isomalt will completely melt it, and then the temperature will be just about ready to go, and there's a few more degrees to worry about it. It will a little bit more time pressure, a little bit more hectic, you will realize. So isomalt comes in two different forms, either granule form like this or powder form. Actually, both things is the same thing. The powder is only just much more fine grinding, that's all. Gel colors has modified starch and some vegetable gums inside. So is these two items, is it belongs to sugar? Is it a good idea to add this kind of things inside of sugar? It's only a question mark, because I never experienced something bad. So you can put gel colors into the cooking isomalt or after cooking, never have any problem. So it is okay. Powder colors, you cannot just take it and put it inside isomalt while it's cooking. You have to mix with some water first, so that some of the powders dissolve quickly, some of them dissolve later. So once you do that, do not add too much water and mix it like this. You can leave it overnight, but if you don't have much time, make sure that the solution is pourable only a little bit, and then the powder stays inside the glass. So when you just do it very carefully, the powder stays inside, liquid goes into the sugar. There will be no problem also. So next thing I like to do, I like to prepare my frame for casting. To get ready for casting, to prepare a frame, I need to have some sort of platform like this. So I take over here the 9mm MDF cake board. Why I do that? Because a couple of reasons. Because nice and straight. It's always available in my store, because I'm using those boards for cake board, as a cake board underneath the birthday cakes or something. And also, the most importantly, when I pour sugar on it, it doesn't warp. So if I have aluminum platform, when I pour hot sugar on it, it will just change the straightness. It's not going to work. So it will be quite practical. I pour everything in here, just carry left and right. It's quite good. So can I use a marble slab? A small marble slab, yes, but it's very heavy to carry left and right again, so very cumbersome. So can I use a tabletop to do that? It all depends. So if you're making something very small and thin, you can use anything you like. The good thing about tabletops, because when you're pouring here, the area will be quite hot. It will take some time to get cooler and then just harder. So you can remove, you can just move left and right somewhere else. Just bring it to the colder surface of the table. It is quite speed up the process. If you have a tabletop like this, laminate platform, it may sort of like the hot sugar may damage the table, the surface of the condition. So it's not really nice to have like a tabletop nice and beautiful, but one spot is like damaged. And if you have a marble tabletop, it depends again. If the marble table nice and thick, solid, it will be good. But if you're doing something quite large, like a really large and thick, the heat will be constant on one spot. It causes like expansion on the marble. It may also crack the marble top. So that's a little bit of problem. So that's quite a good solution because it's just wood, light and quite practical. So that's what I use. I like to have a complete freedom to design something and then rely on something just around of me and then just do it quickly and then make the sugar, get the sugar ready and pour it in and finish. So in order to do that, I need a couple of different material. The first thing is straight bars like this for straight lines. So I can just put it down here, nice and heavy, it stays where it is, and then it's good for straight lines. I need to have something also like that, which I explained before, a flexible bar, aluminum bar. I can bend sort of like some sort of like less cursive things, it's okay. Then more detail items, I need to have a kind of paste, laminate with aluminum foil and cut thin stripes and then just take it out and then do what I have to do, finish off this complete design. So let's design something now and talk about this one further while we are doing it. I don't want to do something particular. Let's say the combination of different lines like straight, cursive, etc. So one side is straight like this and like that. And then let's say something like that. I'm just imagining like kind of like it's like a cake stand, or you can just do a couple of them and join together into like a nice stand. So something like this. Maybe something like that. Something like that, and maybe just big hole here, like that. All right. So that is that. Maybe eventually you can just do some other sugar like cursive lines like this, and you can just create sort of beautiful decorations like that if you like. All right. Maybe something here. Doesn't matter. So as I said, we're not going to do something final product here. Talk about only the techniques of what we do with the casting sugar. All right, I can't pour sugar here. I need to have a separation. I used aluminum foil. I mean, if you have a silicone mold, that's all good. You don't need to do all those things. But we're talking about now, if you don't have it, what we do. Our life should not be stopped there if you don't have a silicone mold. So just cut that. Good blades can cut also aluminum foils. Right. Get this on it, somehow like that. Go one more time with the pencil, just approximately. Don't push too much. And the circle here. All right, so I can see good enough to get my frame around here. So that's my first straight line. That's my second straight line. So let's do this one. I like to bend this one according to this. Maybe they're starting with the ply a little bit. It's pretty good. Okay. That's pretty much done. Okay. Let's do now the more detailed items with this paste. So, as I said, non-toxic plasticine, or you can use the non-toxic clay to do that. But fondant is available here. I'm going to use fondant because I will have no problem with that. So we can do that one with this paste. And this circle, the first thing I'm sure your mind say, can I use some sort of like round cutter or something? Yes, you can. But let's say this is a cutter I placed over here. If I pour the sugar somehow, somewhere else, inside the mold, it will be no problem because sugar somehow that shrink a little bit and this will come off from here, no problem. But once you pour the sugar outside here, the sugar will hug the ring and then never let go. So it will have really problem to remove from here, unless you're lucky and your mold is a bit flexible. Make some, for example, like this, something like this will work. Let's say you remember that this stripes I used for the making sugar flowers cutters, homemade cutters. So I use that. You can use something like that, just bend it nicely according to the shape. All right, but the problem with them is it's too light. So when you push sugar, it may move. Also, I can see over here, there's a gap underneath here. I cannot just make it exact like sitting on the platform. When I push it down for cutter, it's okay because I'm pushing everywhere. Additionally, that giving more force. But when it's just freestanding like this, it may be a little bit of problem. So that's why I like to do the rest of it with this one. Make some space here. This one then has a bit of extra icing sugar inside, just a little bit more firmer. And you can also use, of course, Tylose to make it firmer. So just do that. Then roll it. It's about a centimeter, or maybe just a bit less than that. All right. Apply a little bit of water. All right. Let me just put it here. All right. And we put another piece of aluminum foil on top here. Basically, I know where the aluminum foil finish. Then use the ruler, cut stripes. If you use a clay or plasticine, it will work much better. Fondant is available, but a little bit problem because it sticks to the knife sometimes. Or what I need, nice clean bars. Okay, this is done. This one sits here. All right, let's get this one on the side. What do we have to do now? One piece here. So, get something small so it will be more comfortable to work with. Keep that surface nice and clean, and touch here. I can see where to cut. So make sure that this surface is nice and clean. That's done. All right, let's get this one. Whenever clean starts, just cut one piece right here like this. Go like that. Look at that. I just cut one slit here. Just like this, but not cutting aluminum foil. Turn it like that. Touch there. And that's the area to cut. That's nice. This is just done. All right. So for this one, I just take one of this, turn around like this. All right. Put it here. It's about this size. Cut it like that. Remove that pieces, join together, and put it here. I'm ready. So, as you see that with this three different material, so one of them is a rigid straight lines, another one is a bendable, kind of like a kind of stripe, and then when it comes to the more details, I can use this little paste to do that aluminum laminating on it, and then cut little stripes and continue till my complete design is finished. So we are ready with that. Just to make you understand what to do with that, if you're doing like this, it's no problem. So this is like a nice and shine because we're bending this way. If you go that way around, you have to pull a little bit. You have to pull and then use your hand like this. It becomes inside also straight because we are just pulling outwards. All right. So if you want to make a kind of a corner this direction or this direction, you can cut like that or like that. So if you cut like that, you can turn this way. All right. So you can create that corners. You can always take another piece of material. You can get some help over here, make it straight, or you can go like that, or you can go like this. Look at that. So this is the corner like this or like that. So you can do however you like. You can go really much finer detail areas with this solution. So let's clear up now and talk about a little bit more about safety before we take off. There's no doubts about that we're dealing with something dangerously hot. 170-degree sugar accidentally pour on your hand or somewhere on your body, it will cause the third-degree burn. So just like airlines, before they take off, they know it's nothing going to happen because flying is the most secure way of traveling, but they still go through kind of safety procedures. If I'm not bothering you too much, let me go also with you through that what could be things which is very important and that you should wear about it. So first of all, you have to be sober. No alcohol before you start with the sugar, and choose a good day. Like if you have other orders, very busy, you have to travel, you have to come back and do something and everything. So just choose the right day that you are really more relaxed than any other day. And the kids are very attracted to sugar. You know that. Even that babies are not really important because they are just staying somewhere on the corner. But the kids which is maybe 2-3 years old, they're walking around and then they just touch everything interesting. So that is very important that you should look after that. Floor has to be clean. No water spill, no oil, no nothing. Just like nothing is there. No boxes and things on the floor, because you make cooking over here. You grab the pot and you're walking like this, and then the pot is in your way. You can't see what's on the floor. If you trip, and then this will be very dangerously. It can cause a really big problem. So you have to wear shoes, safety. Even that safety shoes are not going to work if the oil on the floor. So floor is to dry, and then you must have also safety shoes. And also something like this is a good idea, long sleeve. And then if you have gloves that you don't trust that it will protect you, you can also wear cotton gloves. You know, the white gloves that it's only for protecting your hand. You wear the cotton gloves first, white, and after that you put your surgical gloves on top of it. It will be much more secure if you're not really comfortable with that heat. So all the tools has to be ready. You have no time just to, while you're dealing with something like that, go around and looking for things. So sugar will get hardened, it will make you sort of upset, etc. So start with these small projects. Like if you're not familiar with the cooking sugar, target yourself with small items, like maybe just a flour arrangement, something like that. And then do not cook too big sugar if you're not also really sure what you're doing. So 1 kilo is already too much. Maximum 1 kilo you cook sugar, and then make sure that you're not targeting too big things without experiencing. So let's say we talk about all those things. We know that is dangerous. Let's say this happened. So you should only know that if it has happened, also what to do. So maybe it sounds stupid, but you take a bucket of water, put some ice cubes inside, make it stand by somewhere quite close to reachable in a second. All right. So it will not going to be regret if you have the sugar in your hand just somewhere that which is really burning. Just go inside. It's finished cold. Another thing is that you remember that cold spray. I'm talking about like chocolate cold spray and sugar cold spray that we're using, things that quickly dry, quickly cold. So that spray will help you a lot if it stand by all the time. If something like this happen, just spray it as close as you need and then cool down the sugar very, very quickly. So now we have spoken everything, and then we pass the taxiway, and then we talk about the safety precautions and then procedures and everything. Now we are on the runway. We're going to take off. Press the throttle and cook some sugar now. Okay, we are ready for cooking the sugar. But before I start cooking the isomalt, I like to just briefly go through about if no isomalt. If you cook to just normal refined sugar, what you have to look after, just to double check what you know already. All right, what I have over here is ready. I have this my frame ready for casting sugar. I have my isomalt ready. It's about almost 1 kilo, and I have my red color, gel color, a liquid color, which is I mixed, or the yellow color with the water, and just a little bit of unmelted part inside, but doesn't matter. I'm gonna just pour it the top part, and I have my jug to mix the for pouring here, and I have also my utensils here just in case I need it, and imaginative, I have 1 gram of cream of tartar and 350 gram of glucose here. So imagine that I'm putting 1 kilo of normal refined sugar inside here. So the pot has to be nice and clean, stainless steel, heavy duty, and then nice handle, which is without any kind of movement here, just nice and secure. So what's the recipe? 1 kilo refined sugar. How much is the water? Really not important, because you have to put water inside just enough to get this the sugar turned to a syrup. So you can put 300 gram, you can put 350 gram, you can put 400 gram, you can put 500 gram. It doesn't really matter, because more you put water, it will take longer. So if the sugar reached to 120 degrees or 130 degrees, doesn't matter how much you put water inside, it will still left exact the same amount of sugar. Whatever you start, you end up in the same spot. So it only takes longer. That's why I can't just give you an exact recipe. Let's make a very simple recipe. 1 kilo caster sugar, 1 kilo refined sugar, and 350 gram of water, which is just nicely enough. And then also glucose is the same thing. If you put more, it will be much more pliable, much more nicer, but will be more hygroscopic. So one way is good, but one way is not good. So you have to find the balance of, depends on which country you are and how much experience you have, you can deal with the sugar as quick as possible. You can protect from the moisture. And also cream of tartar is the same thing. The acid is also, more you put, it will be better, but more problem with the humidity. So let's make it like this. 1 kilo, 350 gram water, 350 gram glucose, 1 gram of cream of tartar. 1, 350, 350, 1. So this is nice to remember. All right. So I will put sugar here, 350 gram water, mixing together slowly, cooking it turn to syrup. All right. So once this start boiling, it will be, you see some foam on top. That foam is actually impurities. Impurities comes from manufacturing sugar. They cannot just really make it absolutely clean. There's some sort of like residue there from the whatever it is, just appears like a foam on the top. You take this little sieve and then keep it in the water. Just go on top and take this slowly. Only once or twice is good enough. And after that, once the sugar boiling, and you have to just get this clean brush, very clean brush. You can't just use your egg brush you used it yesterday for the bread or for Danish pastry. Just clean brush and just clean up around. So make sure there is no little things that start bubbling on the corner and start getting crystallized. So once they nicely start boiling, you take your glucose and you just nicely pour it inside. And then you also add your cream up. You can add it just as a powder, or you can mix a little bit of water and just put it in. That's it. And then after that, during this cooking process, you have to time go with the brush, go around, take these little dots and just sprinkle around, and it just becomes like little crystallizations on the corner, melt it down and go back to the sugar. You can also cover with the lid. Because of this steaming, the steam will melt the sides of this little dots of sugar. It goes everything in and back again. If you don't have lid, just use the brush to clean. You don't have to put the thermometer inside for at the beginning, because really you don't need it, because it will take a long time to reach 130, 120 degrees. So after that, you put your thermometer inside. Maybe not this one, this is a better idea. You put your alarming thermometer, the digital thermometer, just on it, and then bring to the 145 degrees, which is good, because till the 145 degrees long time, but after 45 degrees just to take a couple of minutes. So after you place this one in and you see the 145, the thermometer is beeping. That means you have to be here, stand by. Also get ready with your coloring, pots and pans, whatever you want to do. You want to pour it on the silicone mat, you start ready to get pulling or something, you have to get ready. So don't worry about this one now. We talk about enough, all right? So 145, stand by, 155, is ready. So with the Isomalt, from now on, we worry about Isomalt. Okay, let's start with Isomalt now. I'm going to put, not everything, just about this much. And I like to have it like start melting already. And also be careful with the heat, not so much. Just go down a little bit. Start low and then gradually go up. So as you see, I'm not adding anything inside, no water, nothing. I'm gonna just make sure like it starts melting, then I will add the rest of it inside. Maybe shallow pans are more useful if you put everything together. But if you have a bowl like this, like it's a bit higher, so I will put just partially for a start, and after add everything, maybe just 2-3 lots inside. So once this start melting, I get back to you. After a few minutes, that's what's happened. It's already melting, so I can just put one more lot inside. So that new coming sugar, it's avoid to overheating the previously melted part. I also increased the heat from 120 to gradually 400 to 800. So that is a good thing about the induction stoves, because you can control the heat quite well. So if you want, you can also put a small metal spoon inside just to give a bit of motion, but I don't think necessary at the moment. That's it. Before they get too hot, I just put a little bit more. I think one more time, they'll be okay. If you put everything together, what happened, because the concentration, the heat underneath, it may just really overheat at the very bottom part, and you will see some little bit of yellow stains. Caramelization will occur. So that's why you have to be just control the heat very low, start, and then after that you add a little bit, and then just bit by bit, it will control the caramelization. This is actually also very quick, because we're not reducing any water inside. Just you have to be quite careful, because if you just let it be and then keep on boiling, and you will reach, because even that we not adding any water inside, we have to still control the temperature. We should not exceed 170 degrees. In the meantime now, I'm gonna get a bowl of water. It's already there. I'm just gonna get standby, so I will shock the lower part of the pot once I reach the normal temperature. I play with the heat up and down, so I'm gonna, sometime I slow down a little bit. And now put the rest of it inside. So make sure that the sides are down. Sometimes I would move like this to grab that unmelted isomalt on the side. With the heat, melted isomalt heat, put everything down. Let's check. Now, I like to put just a few drops of yellow color inside. See that bubbles first, so the water will disappear. That's enough. So as you see that, you can put color inside isomalt while it's cooking. (138, 141, 145). Slow down. (148, 49, 50, 52). See, once the sugar is complete melted, just still there's little bits and pieces inside. It didn't reach 160 yet. So that means the water contained, it still exists inside to reduce it more down. (155). There is no more unmelted isomalt in visibility. So everything is already done. I go higher. (161). From now on it won't take too long. 162, 163, 65, 66, 68, 69, as you see, I'm on 400 at the moment. 69 and 70. It goes immediately down to 165, I can see over here. So that is the sugar already reach, the isomalt reach already 170 degrees, and I shock it. And I go more down now, till to 80. I need my towel. See the good thing about induction. So what I like to do now, as you see, AT will keep the sugar nice and soft in that sense. I may also put this one here that even go more secure. So that will be nice and about the 165 degrees. Let's check again how many degrees at the moment after shocking. So in the meantime, I like to put a little bit of red color here, inside here. Just a few drops. Okay. That's about 137, 138, 140. So when we shock the isomalt and then go back to the very low temperature, even with a piece of wood underneath, we can keep it about 140 degrees, and then it is nice and liquid over here. You can keep working on it. For example, if we pour in different colors, you keep it here and you have a different jars here with different colors, and then keep working on it accordingly. You don't have to rush, you don't have to panic. So let's make this one now pourable condition to here. So I have some water inside here. Once I pour this one in there, it will be a little bit bubbling, all right? As you see that here, a little bit bubbling, and after that it stops, all right? So I'm going to give a little bit of mix also with this. So that is the, as you see that bubbles, it's actually disappearing the water from the color. And when this settles down, I'm ready to pour it into the cask that I prepared before. Just 2 minutes passed, all the bubbles are disappeared. Now it's like the condition also, the isomalt a bit more thicker. It's not too liquid, so I can start pouring here. I have no worries about here's 80 with the piece of wood underneath. It will stay in the liquid, so we can do the next stage with that. So just go like this here, and then starting from one side, and then go to the other side slowly. As you see that the aluminum foil inside is a little bit becomes sort of waves underneath. So for me, it's just, it looks good. It's just like a natural kind of waves in it, like a silk cloth. And if you use, of course, the silicone mat, it will be much more straighter than that. So that should be enough here. You can always, of course, you can try different colors at the same time. So this will take some time to get set. You see that fondant is not moving. It's just like it's getting soft, but it allows you to keep it in the shape. Once there's everything getting hardened, we can remove and then we see the result. So it will take some time to get completely rigid. We cannot touch before than that. So after that, we're going to remove and then give some protection on it. So this one now, I'm going to now clear everything, put this on the side, and bring my silicone mat here to get this sugar storable condition. So normally when you're putting on the silicone mat, you can also right away continue with the pulling or blowing, but I like to show you that how you get this storable blocks that you can keep it in the airtight containers, and you don't have to right away start with the pulling or blowing. So this is ready already, kept in the right kind of condition. Pour this over here. You can always turn this one just like this, not to drop too much. All right. Okay, now what we have to do, we have to wear the gloves. So as you see, that still too early. I mean, if I try to grab this one now, it's all sticking to my hands. It will be very, very dangerous. So I have to wait, just patient, and then till this get ready to lift up. Now I just try. You see, it's lifting up already. It's coming off the surface. So some people say that you can just dry this like this, let it really harden, and then just shatter with a knife or hammer or something, and then keep them in the plastic bag. So what happening that when you shatter this, a lot of sharp corners. First of all, it's very sharp. It can even cut your hands. And then after that, this sharp corners, when you put inside the bags are all pocked and then there's the holes and then the humidity goes inside. So that's why I prefer to do this. Put it here and take it out. Put it here like this, like that, and like that. So once I get this one tempered to, I can hold it in my hand, I'm going to give a couple of pull. Just a couple of pulling, but not completely, because you have to start effective pulling for that shine. You have to start like later stage. At the moment is what you have to do. You just put a couple of like turns to make it ready to store. And also I find out if you don't do this couple of pulling for a storage, you will get easier humidity from the air. So that couple of like pulling, it will make it a little bit more drier. So this is my experience. You make sure you hold this one in the hand, just lift it up from the base when the time comes. So it is still too hot. Still too hot. Change the location. So when you put over here now, it's too hot. You just change it a bit, go somewhere else, it will be cooler. Just wait for a while, just 1 more minute, and take it in the hand, and then start pulling. All right. Now it's ready. Just 30 seconds was passed. Beautiful. I can feel the temperature just right. I'm not really disturbed. I'm really not disturbed, so I can hold it in the hand for quite some times. So, just a few pulling like this. You see that some air bubbles is captured inside. It's getting longer and longer. I think I'm happy with this one now. There's a prep ready. So 1 cut, second cut. This is 3 pieces, just a nice amount. So after that, you have a sharp corner here. Push them back into the round shape so the back is not really disturbed and then pocked. All right, that is just a nice pallets. And then I have here a couple of sandwich bags and then also airtight container, really airtight container. So because it's still very hot and there is no moisture on the surface at all. So nothing at all. Just put it in like this. And then make sure that it's like you're pushing down. Get the air out as much as possible. And push this one in like this. And then placing here. Okay, so everything is good here as a preparations. Just keep this one like that. It will stay forever here, no problem at all. You don't have to put any silica gel or something inside because completely airtight and then ready to go. So what I like to do, I'm going to check my casting sugar now. Casting piece, is it ready or not? So now I just pick up that from the other table. How do I understand that it's ready to touch? So I don't want to touch this one before then completely rigid. So because if I take this one, try to take it out or something like this, if it's still moving slightly, it will disturb. It's not going to be right. So what I have to do, I'm going to take a scissor and then I'm just going to direct my eyes to a kind of reflection to the light and I'm just going to touch. So if this slightly moving in, I have like a indentation, which I have. I'm going to wait a little bit more. I'm going to go for a more biggest area, so most probably that this is the place that's getting latest cold. So it is still have a slightly indentation, just go like a slightly in. So I'm going to wait a couple of more minutes. I just want to check the humidity level here now. So let me go through that. It's 64. It is okay, but it is still dangerous that if I leave it just like this one like that, it will be wet, and then sort of like the beautiful transparency will change sometimes. So let me check again one time more. Is this completely rigid or not? Yeah, it is. The knife or the scissor doesn't go in at all. So that is the essential point. Basically, the most important point here, to catch this, the beauty, before the humidity get on the surface. So let's remove everything. So it comes out just very easily. And then, of course, the most important thing is that we have to get the protection before the humidity happened, but not too late, not too early. So as you see that the fondant part, it comes off like this, no problem at all. This will come off. This is even drop off, it's off. There's no harm to use fondant, no problem at all. So I'm very happy with that one. Huh? So also remove that part. Beautiful. Just carefully remove that. There's a little bit of fondant left. It's a little pieces, so we can always take a knife and then clean that before too late. Done. Nothing left. Beautiful. This is nice, dry, transparent, nothing wet, nothing at all. So now is the most essential thing that relies on the success is to get this baby protected. So what I like to do, I'm going to turn this way first. Just, you see what I did here? I did a kind of like, toothpicks can be possible. Small blocks of styrofoam and toothpicks inside make a chair like this. So I like to spray first behind, here. I still look at the reflection, make sure that my glaze is everywhere the same amount. This side a little bit, this side a little bit, done. Then I'm not worried about, just turn around, all right. That's it, one more time to the front. I mean, before you start already worry about how much humidity I have, is it going to work or is not going to work, just do that. It's done, finish. All right, so when it's dry, you can just leave it at the side, never mind. You see that there's a bit of like a red line over here. That is just the unmelted red color. So if you also, probably what happened when I pouring that gel color, there was a bit of dry piece in the front. So that drops inside the jar, and that's not really 100% melted. So if you just mix a little bit of water and then do the also same thing, it will be perfectly all right. So I have this ready. I have that preparations ready for my pulling and blowing. So I'm just going to go and take my coffee first, have a little break. This one get dry in the same time. And then when I come back, I'll show you how to pull the sugar and blow the sugar. For starting pulling the sugar, we have to bring the sugar into the workable condition. So how we do that? First of all, of course, the very first thing we can do, we can just boil the sugar, prepare everything. We pour the sugar on this silicone mat. Once the time is right and we folding together, we do the stretch and then make it like silky texture, give a knead and put under the light, and we can continue right away after cooking. So because we did these bars, these like, let's say prep blocks, and store them into the airtight containers, So how we bring those pieces into the workable condition? There's two ways to do. One is the placing the sugar blocks under the light. Under the light, depends how close you put this light. It will be either 15 minutes or half an hour. You can just put it there, go for lunch and come back. It will be just right. But never be happened that that sugar piece everywhere in the same even condition, because in the middle a bit more hot, a bit more color around. So what you have to do, you have to just you see I put this already about 20 minutes before here. So you just take it like this and give a small movement like this, put on the light again, and then wait for a while. It will be just get even heat over here already. So secondly, let me show you how to bring these blocks into the right condition, workable condition, with the microwave. So they are nice, beautiful. All right. So as you see, that plastic bags is a very good idea. Sandwich bags. It doesn't stick. Just take it out and put it on this small little silicone sheet, silicone mat, and put it in the microwave. It's not much, maybe around, let's say, start with them now at 10-15 seconds. Let's see what happened. You see that already start moving, and then some areas are getting really too soft. So you have to be careful at this stage. That thing can hurt you. So because that one area is already melting, another side is not even started yet. So put another 10 seconds. You have to be really careful, especially when you, like my situation, I'm reaching inside and I don't look at what's inside happening. It may just stick over here and burn yourself. So basically, don't grab the sugar, you take this one out. See that here? It's already melting, one side. So what I like to do, I'm just going to put like this, and then push a little bit. Push a little bit also like that. So that you mixed it with hot sugar with cold side to bring it to the condition that the even heat. It was a bit too long, so what I put over here in the microwave is about 10-15 seconds. At the second time it was too long, so I just have to be a little bit more careful with that. Eventually you reach that, no problem. So that is happening. You always put the soft side over the hard part, push that a bit, take it out like this. No problem at all. So, as I know that inside there's quite a hard block, hard part inside, put it back again, microwave. So, but also you can use this soft PVC sheets. You don't have to have this silicone mat. Of course this is the best, but if you don't have it, you can still have that material to have it just a round cut and put in the microwave. So, not ready yet. Just give it a neat, so I can feel that there's a little hard parts inside, softer parts around. So mix together, get this heat even everywhere before we start pulling. A few more seconds. This is pretty good. All right, that's pretty good now. We don't need this anymore. So let's mix this together so we have a larger piece. Give it neat. Now, as you see inside here, there's lots of air bubbles captured. So these air bubbles is just a little air pockets inside. So when I pull that, the air bubbles goes also in a longer tube shape. So more we pull it, the sugar, it reaches like a silky texture, like a metallic look, all right? So the pulling means that you have to make it even shape, just like this. And when you're pulling, you just grab at the end. Don't grab it like this, because if you grab like this, you were not pulling this part, you're pulling on the center. So you just have to do like this, and then go back here. Or what you can do, you can just go like that, and then like this, and like that again, okay? And always good idea, just keep it off neat. That's why I said at the beginning, do not pull too much when you're getting prepared for this prep blocks, because as you see that it's only about 15-20 times, maybe a little bit more sometimes. That is already good enough to get very nice texture. If you pull so much and put it into the airtight container, you have to pull again. So there is something like called over pulling. So if you pull over, that means that you get the nice silky texture, but it's very, very short. It will also go back to the dull color later on very, very quickly. So you don't have to be over pull that sugar before you start working. All right, that's already ready. So give a knead again. So we reach that silky texture. Give it knead again. And like that. Like that. That's ready. Put it under the light. So we're gonna now pull the sugar in the different shapes. I wrote over here, basic pulling sugar mother shapes. Mother shape means I'm gonna show you about 10 different shapes. Actually, you can create hundreds of different shapes, but every one, what you're going to do, actually, at the beginning, is one of these, probably. It's not much more than that. So I'm gonna show every mother shape for you, that you can understand that what else you can create from there onwards. Every time you leave your sugar under the light, it gets also a little bit flat. So you have to take it in the hand and give a couple of turn again, couple of just kneading again. Just that. I'm not saying that just pulling too much, just give a little bit turning like this. Okay, I like to start showing you sticks which is about the pencil size. Okay, so just go pulling like this. Just give a little bit of knead like that, knead like that. See that just getting sort of oblong shape, and then pull this one slowly like this. As you see over here. So as you see, that is already about this sort of like a pencil size. So because of this heat over here, when I'm pulling like this here, this one getting cooler. So once I pull like this, give a little bit of turn, just a little bit of turn like this. Then you have that stick already. This one cooling down, this one but still hot. This still hot. It gives you the possibility. Just pull however the size you like. So when we're doing baskets or something, this is actually the way of how we do that. Pull the sugar about this direction, about this thickness. All right. So every time that this one we don't need it, you can put it always back here. All right. That's it. So that's the size. Second thing, that if you want to give like a twisted one, same size also again, so you just pull again one piece like this. Actually, what you can just put this one back again. So give it like a much better result on that, only on that part. Okay. So you don't have to pull the whole lot to give that silky texture. Just pull this much. Cut this part again here. and go back here and twist. This could be like a kind of basket handle or something like that. Okay. Let me show you now how to make a lot thinner sticks. So just twisting like that, bring it here, and then pulling in. That is a kind of like a really just about, probably about 2 millimeters or something, but you can make it even thinner than that if you like. All right. So when you do that, actually, you can also do this. I should do that. If it's falling down slowly, just take a cold freeze, cold spray, and then do that. It will stay. Okay. So let's do now something like flat pieces. This is all the round pieces. I want to show you now how to make a flat thing. Put it this way. All right. Okay. While we have the sugar quite far away from the light, it gets a little bit harder, so it will be hard to work with. I just put it in the microwave another just about maybe 4 or 5 seconds. Nice. Every time you put also in microwave, the heat becomes uneven. You have to knead again. Okay. Same as before, just bring in the round shape like this. So I like to show you how to make sort of flat things. Let's start from the very basic, how we make a basic principle of making ribbons. So let's say, imagine this is one color. Put it here. That is another color. Put it here, just on the side. Let's say this is another color. Put it on the side. And then just assume that you have 4 different colors here on this board. That's another color. All right. Bring back to the round shape. So just like that. Pulling like this. Make sure that you are quite even. Not that you pull in only in the center, getting bigger and bigger. like this. This time, see, I put this bigger part on the side, thinner part on the other side. Stick together. Pull again. Make sure it's touching each other. Do it again. Pull it again. If you want, you can do it one more time if you like. You can do that quite a large, big ribbon. Can you imagine every stripe over here is a different color? So how nice will be when you pull this. Okay. So then you cut here and you cut the other side. So this is how we get ribbon type. All right. Now, let's worry about the tongue shape. Back to microwave. Okay, now once you get this one, is a kind of round shape. So what you do, have a big pinch first, like this. Big pinch first. And then pull it on the side way, like that. So that's how it starts. And after that, you turn this direction. Make sure that the bulky part behind and this in the front. Then pull that like this, slowly. That is our kind of like tongue shape. That's most of the time how we start pulling sugar for many reasons. All right. Quickly cooling means that you maintain the shine. Okay, pull again, like that. Then I like to make a tongue shape, but continuously cutting some sort of like diamond shapes together with that. That's here. The condition is too hot. I don't like it, so I just have to knead again. If the sugar is not in the right temperature, if it's too hot, it turns very quickly to dull kind of texture. And color is not silky anymore. So cool it down a little bit. Then put it back again here. Pinch again. Okay. If I have to make many leaves at the same time, I will go this way. See that, turning like this? That is a continuous diamond shape cutting from the tongue shape. So that's one. Continue, pull again. That's the second piece. Continue again. If the shape is not desirable, you can cut this one, put it over here, and then after that, do that again. Look at that. Let's do it one more time. I can put those pieces straight away onto the leaf mold, and I can get a number of leaves in very short time with this method. Okay, so let's do a kind of like now drop shape. let's say we do flowers. This is a very important part. So pulling again on the side. So you do this, and then you cut. Now, I'm not using scissors, I'm just cutting like this now. Okay? Another shape is like I can also do, this is like what do you call that, tapered one side, and then sort of like a drop shape in the other side. So I like to make it like leaves, like this, but not scissor cut. I like to also like tearing off. So this side, I'm going to tear it like this, very thin, like that, and then I continue also cutting other side by tearing, like this. You have a beautiful, both sides very sharp. Okay, let's do it one more time. Always do this one first. Especially when you do like orchid leaves or something, this is a very good way of doing this. Okay. Then if I do like the same principle, but I have to do it like a bit more roundish. So I do it again. Do that. So you see this is now round. And I just go this way and cut this way. So one side is what do you call, tapered, one side here, and the other side is completely round. So if we make flowers or something, this is a very common thing. So if we just get a little bit more faster, we can also do the end bits also fluted. That. You can go close to the light now and just do this. Then we have really that kind of petals. All right. That kind of petals. This is about pulling the sugar. As you see that, we make a couple of different shapes here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 different things. This is basically, for me, is the mother kind of shapes that we can start from this and onwards. We can just do other things for a lot of other number of things, of course, we can do. These are for me, is like the most basic shapes that we can take it as a mother shape, and we can start from this point and then create other shapes then also from this one onwards. So I would like to create up now, and I'm going to show you how to create some basic shapes for blowings. I place all my pulled sugar pieces into that box that what we prepared before, silica gel and then silicone baking sheet inside. So this will maintain the quality till you start joining pieces together into flower or center pieces, whatever you like to do. So if you don't have that kind of facilities, please glaze or the pieces on that silicone baking sheet with the confectionery glaze. You can also, if you find a product called chocolate, nougat, marzipan or edible lacquer, it's the same thing. So you have to make sure that it's a kind of aerosol can form. All right, so I like to show you now how to add color into that here. After that reconditioning, we can just add the color actually later on into here. Just a drop of green I like to put, just as much, all right. And then just take the sugar is just nice at the moment. I actually increase a little bit amount because I just add the last piece of that bread block. So the color is actually just maintained inside. You just have to keep mixing till the color is completely dissolve in there. Try to keep it in the middle, not running out. Just neat. Okay, right here. All right, start with blowing. I have all the gears here that for cooling, for reheating, and also for gluing, and also if I need it for shock freezing, so shock cooling down. So I have also my scissor, and the blowing sugar pump is ready, and my little wooden stick to make the cavity correct. All right, so I just have to prepare first that end bit. So what I do, I just heat up the copper here, just heat up a little bit, and then grab a piece of sugar over here, just sticks itself, and then go around like that. So heat it up, and then go around here like that. That is already preparing for connection. Close that. So sometimes what we do, we just take a piece of sugar here, and then try to connect it. It doesn't glue quite quickly. I'm going to show you now basically what kind of shapes we have to blow as a mother shape, so we can start from there onwards. I like to make it first the round, that's the ball, sphere shape. So flat, and then slightly go into the cup shape, and put this around here, and then also squeeze it around here. So the point is here that the wall here is to be equal size, and then you have to move that wood piece a little bit so it doesn't stick. All right, done. And then after that you take it out, you close the neck a little bit more further down, so we are ready to join with this. Put it here, not go all the way inside, So once you check that it's not good, so you have to push a little bit more. So did you realize that just now the air not coming stay? Now it stays, see, inside. So now is, as soon as you push the first air in there, you see that is bubble is already building up. So you just have to pull, get ready for the neck to cut later on. Just pull this one here, all right? See that here? There's a steel pipe inside that we can enter the air inside. All right, and then you keep going, you keep doing this neck quite close, but not complete close. So now you take some time. So every time you push a little bit air, you turning and make sure that you realize that if any area that is actually blowing more than what necessary, so that means in that area the sugar is too thin, so you have to cool down that part. All right. Don't rush. The main thing is here, first of all, you keep this one in the good condition, this one here. Your actual success is not really what you're doing in the hand, how you're keeping this one. Make sure that the light is actually nicely distanced, ready for the next blow, and then this one also keep in control. All right. Now, keep touching and make sure that it's maintaining the shape. So I'm pretty happy with this one now. There's a little bit area here is too thin, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't really blow too much on that area. It stays in the same shape, that's fine. Now it's time to cool down, because I reached the size what I'm looking for, right? So I on my cooling, and then start giving some sort of stopping the motion. I don't worry about this part because I will cut that very, very easily later on because I prepare my neck. So this neck here, the air passing through, but actually not closed completely. As you realize that I'm keep on putting a little bit of pressure on here. Beautiful. So then what I do now, I keep this one, I on this. Make sure it's not close. So I'm happy with this. And then just go this area, only this area, all right? It's not close yet. Because I give that little heat here, I'm already, I can squeeze more and then close that neck now. Okay. Then cut. Give a little bit of, just a bit of manipulation here. Put it back again. That's it. Now, once you're happy with the shape, do not just put it over here because there's still some hot condition in there. You have to continue here to cool it down completely. Sometimes we keep that piece. So if it's like an apple, for example, I will keep this one as a stem. But at the moment, I just want to show you how to make this sphere shape. So that's why I just cut it off. So I'm going to take my time, another few minutes now, to cool this one completely. How do I understand? I touch here. If I feel that cooler than my body temperature, I'm ready to place it on the sponge. Yep, that's it. Place it here. Now I'm going to show you second shape is a pear shape. Pear shape is a mother shape of many, many other shapes. Like for instance, if you want to make a swan, it's actually that very long neck, but it starts from the pear shape. If you want a bird, it's the same thing. And then also a lot of body parts of the animal figurines. For example, just think about simple teddy bear. The body is a pear shape, and then the legs are smaller pear shapes, which a bit stretch more longer, and also even the head, but pear shape you can do if you don't want to make it two-piece. All right. So let me show you that how to do it. We should start from a really sausage shape, and then after that turn to pear shape after that. You cannot just make it a round like this one, and then after that you make the one side thinner. Yes, you can, but it's more difficult. I'll show you that how to do the sausage shape. After that, turn to a pear shape later on. So every time, as I said, the sugar rests under the light. You have to give it a little bit of knead. Get ready for the next step. And then this one also, you remember that accumulation of when I finished the round shape, it was a kind of big pulp of sugar here. What I do actually, I don't really try to cut it off and put it here because I will have a uneven heat, uneven textures. So I just go to the wash back and then like a sink and then just click it once and then smash and then that is all clean again. All right, let's go. Always knead, again round, and then get this one. Like that. Try not to capture any air bubbles there. And then cut one. Like that. This one, take care. Take care. First flat. After that, cup. Okay, just squeeze this one again. Get ready here. All right, make sure that the air a little bit escaping. Push again. That's it. So now get ready for the neck first. That's it. Every time you do a little bit round like this, you go like this, a little bit more, a little bit more. Get ready for the neck. Don't close it, just keep it slightly open. Good. Okay. That's actually, as I mentioned, sausage shape. You can just pull it longer and longer if you like. For example, if you want to make a banana, you just do it like this. You just pull it, blow it, and then just roll it like this. You get like a sausage shape. Okay. So now, what I like to do, this is still too thin. I want to make it a little bit more bigger. Okay. Now, I want to cool down this part. All right, on this. See that I'm protecting one side and then cooling down the one side. Okay, this part is already cooled down. So you see that is now the other side growing more than the other side. This is too thin. I like to heat up the other side. Pull this one down. Pull this one. Heat up this one. Pull this side. Heat up this side. Very good. Okay. I'm pretty happy now with this shape. Okay, I'm just cooling down again. I don't worry about this part because I'm going to heat up again, then cut it later on. Okay. Still hot. Okay. Already soft. That's it. Now again, don't trust that because it is still hot. You have to continue cooling down. I already glazed this one with a confectionery glaze, so I'm going to do this one too as soon as it's cooled down to the right temperature. So I'm going to turn this one for a while till I make sure it is cooler down my body temperature. You can understand on your cheek right away. If I leave this one like this now, one side will be flat because still the hot air inside. I'm just going to turn this one here till I cool down completely. Next two shape in my list, it says long neck onion shape, and also I have here double sharp end teardrop shape. So this is kind of, you can imagine, it starts from the tin and then it just goes gradually larger, and either that finish that a round shape over here, just like I said, spring onion shape, or you can just pull the end bit more longer and it become like a sharp, larger and thinner again, just nice and gradually, elegantly. And you can, this can be a kind of part of the vertical part of an abstract centerpiece or anything else you can think of, you know. So let's got this one a little bit more larger piece, and then to achieve that shape what we're talking about here. All right, take the sugar again in hand. I'm gonna just take, as I said, a bit more larger. All right. All right, now a little bit more neat, still too soft. You know, when you're doing a larger piece, you have to start a bit more cooler. Okay. So basically what I'm really careful here, the wall here, exactly all of them same, all the way same size. And then keep turning to make it longer and longer, at the same time push a little bit. So that is important, how you start. Okay. All right, now pull this one smaller and then narrow the neck. So we have an easy start here. All right, let's check the air. Good, close. Now, because I'm going to, see, I can just blow this one like this now, and then pull this one thinner and thinner, and create that big drop shape like this. So I just pull all the way down, and then keep blowing here, and then get this one larger and larger. All right, this could be a kind of a drop shape, right? Just like this. So I just keep on blowing like this and pulling at the same time over here, and get this one also touching over here. Then I can make like a vase shape here. All right, just like this. All right. So, but I like to show you the other one. I like to emphasize that both ends sharp. Okay. So. I'll just check that no air coming from here. If the sugar is still reasonably hot, So I keep on blowing. That means I'm getting bigger and bigger. I want to blow air inside once the sugar a little bit more cooler, so the air capture inside and gives a bit of pressure inside and stay with the pressure. Because if you don't create that pressure, in some parts will be a little bit more fall inside. Then you can see that when it's the finished product, it's got like a inner bump like that, indentation like that. So that has to be very careful. So I want to get this one thinner. More warm here on the side. So that is showing indentation here. Just blow and fill it up here again. So that's pretty good. This could be wrap it around a post, like a really circling sort of shape, then can do it. And I'm not going to do it because I didn't start early enough to do that. So I just leave it like a straight piece like this to show you. All right. And then that actually, my aim is always there. Almost there. All right. So I make sure that we maintain the straight, nice shape here. Cool down. I don't worry about the cutting because I can cut this anytime where I want. Make sure that enough pressure inside, so maintain that shape, doesn't fall inwards. Okay, let's cut. A little bit warm still. I want to cut from here. Heat up this area. And then slightly turn like this. So that actually close the gap. All off. This is what I mean. That could be attached to a base, this shape, like that. So these are pretty much the shapes that I want to show you. As I mentioned before, it's a sphere and pear shape, sausage shape, and long neck onion, and then double sharp end teardrop. Could be also like this one, a little bit more like a baseball bat kind of like shape. It's also possible. Like we could have done a little bit more smaller here, more roundish. It will also create other shapes from there. All right. That's it. Let's go down already. Let's give a bit of spray here. As I said, I have to spray it now to protect from this shine long time. That's it. A little bit here. You don't have to do much, just a little bit. That's it, already protected. I'm using that silicone baking sheet because this is a non-stick, so I can always just remove it from there, no problem at all. All right. So this is the end of the tutorial, and I have just a few more words to say. Cook sugar work, or Isomalt, had been used for producing centerpieces and some decorations for many, many years. And then lately we see also on the dessert plates, the pastry chefs are pulling little threads and little spirals and adding on the desserts. It's really wonderful added value to the whatever it comes with it. So, but I believe that Isomalt and cooked sugar work is not being used enough in cooperating with the wedding and birthday cakes. So why is that? I guess that is the fame of difficult to work with and also unpredictable attitude. That caused the kind of hesitation to use in that kind of products. So at the beginning I said, I'm not going to put any centerpiece together. Instead, I will talk a lot and explain a lot. So why I did that? Because I don't want to do it again. And also maybe unknowingly I'm answering some of your questions that caused by some confusions. I hope that has happened. And then you have a little bit more courage now to use that product with your next projects, next kind of like ideas. So I promised you, next time I do a centerpiece with Isomalt, I'm not going to talk that much because I did that today. So this is all for today, guys. Don't forget, with this stuff, safety comes very, very first. Don't forget, it is a very, very dangerous product. All right. So God bless you all again. And thank you so much for watching Yener's Way for your online learning experience. Till to the next one. Bye for now.